Welcome back to Unquiet You. Today we are going to talk about the missing link between you and your next level, and what I believe is one of the most powerful things that not only we as humans can do, but as you're up-leveling your life in any sort of like realm, anything that you're wanting to do. I believe that it is accountability. I believe that it is the lack of accountability that is holding back the majority of people from doing the things that they want to do, finding the partner that they want to find, dream job that they want to find, living where they want to live. I believe everything, having the body that you want to have, having the health that you want to have. I think that we have created a society where excuse making is okay and it has been accepted. And we've leaned on emotions for this where, well, if you feel, upset or sad or tired, just rest. Or you don't have to do that if it doesn't feel good. And the generation of the kids who don't believe, or not just kids, but people in general that don't believe you have to work hard to have a successful business or, go after your dreams, that it's supposed to just fall into your lap. And I think the missing link is the accountability part. The accountability is not, a lot of times people don't want to take accountability because it's like looking in the mirror and people think it is coming down on yourself. It's, shaming yourself for things. And it's actually the complete opposite. It is standing up in the mirror and saying like, I am taking full accountability for exactly where I'm at today. I am taking accountability for the choices that I have made, because everything in our life is a choice. Whether we feel like it is something we've had to do, something that we've been forced to do, like everything we have had happen is a choice that we have physically made or mentally made or emotionally made. I will say the only thing that I will say is not our choice is when something happens to us, like child molestation, child rape, like rape in general. Like there's so many things like that we are not making choices for these to happen, right? And so this goes back to when I was a child, I was molested by an uncle at the age of 5. A lot of things happened along the way, as I got older. But what I realized is the first time someone told me that I needed to take accountability for that, my first response was, no, I'm the victim. Like he needs to take accountability. But what they actually meant was that I needed to take accountability for where I was today, for that day in the situation. Like he could no longer hurt me. And I had to take accountability for allowing the things that happened to me as a child to impact my day, and to use it as a victim mindset versus saying like, okay, this happened. These are the things I need to work through from this. This is how I need to let it go. This is how I need to move on. I will never let it go, but I did have to come to terms with it in my brain to be able to say it no longer has power over my life. It is no longer going to be allowed to be in my mind when I'm making decisions going forward. So besides that, with our everyday decisions, what we put in our mouth, where we go, what kind of job we have, all of these things are choices. And when we make a choice, we have to take full accountability for that choice. Sometimes we will make choices and then we're like, hey, that's really not working for me. And we choose to do something else. But we have to recognize that that is our choice. And when we take full accountability, you're taking full ownership of where you are, what you're doing, and what you've done in the past. But you're also taking back full power to move forward in the future. Because if you know that you're accountable for creating the body that you want to create, then you know you have that power to put those foods in your mouth that are better for you, to eat the protein, to go on the walk, to lift the heavy weights. Like all of that is in your power and no one else can stop you from doing that. And that is a huge tool that will propel your life forward, and it will show up over and over and over. And we have to constantly take accountability. I do what's called like accountability check-ins whether it's with my physical appearance, like my working out or my eating or my, business, my podcast, anything that I'm doing, I have to stop and say, okay, where are you accountable? Because it's very easy for my brain want to blame other people and say, well, so-and-so is in town and I had to go out to eat and, there was nothing healthy on the menu. So now my food's totally thrown off. Or I was just so tired. I couldn't go to the gym because I was up late last night helping a friend. Or, my business, I really want this business, but I just don't have the time to go after it, or I don't have the money, or, I really want this partner. That's my dream partner, but, I just keep finding horrible people and I'm just never going to meet them. Like, all of these are stories that we're telling ourselves because we're giving power to something on the outside source. We're allowing that person who came in town wanting to go to a restaurant, and we're allowing that to take accountability for why we chose to eat queso instead of grilled chicken, right? Like, we are allowing us helping our friend the night before for, we're blaming them for us staying up late and not wanting to go to the gym in the morning. Like, we're blaming the time that we quote unquote don't have on why we don't have a thriving business. The reality is every single thing comes down to you and comes down to the choices that you continue to make. When you tell yourself that you want the body that you truly desire, or that you're trying to lose weight, or sometimes you're trying to gain weight, or you're trying to figure out what's hurting your stomach, or all the things, I always ask people like, well, what does your food log look like? Are you logging your food? Are you tracking what you're eating? Are you paying attention to what you're putting in your body? And a lot of times people will come back and say, well, no, that's just too hard, or I don't have a journal to do that, or I don't know. Like, the reality is every single one of us have a phone. Every single one of us can open an app and log our food, but it's because you don't want it bad enough. You want the easy answer. You want to take the magic pill. You want to be able to eat what you want in reality and still get the body that you want. You want to be able to give excuses as to why you don't have the body that you want. This is where I always see the difference in people who want to stay in the victim mindset and people who want to propel forward. Because when we want to stay in the victim mindset, it's easier in the short term, right? It's very easy to say, I really want this, but X, Y, and Z is stopping me from having it. Or it's when people go to the gym and they talk about how they really want to get in shape, but they don't go to the gym but once a week, or they don't do anything outside of the gym, or they eat like crap, or whatever it is. Like, there's zero accountability because we're now blaming the gym for not creating the body that we desire. Well, I showed up one day a week. I work with that trainer once or twice a week. Like, why do I not have the body I desire when the accountability comes into play for everything else that you're doing? It's not that trainer's fault that you don't have the body you desire. It's not the gym's fault. It's literally your fault. And people will give me pushback on this and say, well, what about, hormones or underlying health things? Again, like, there's accountability to that, right? Like, there are ways we can have tests run. There are things that we can do. We can change our food. We can change our supplements. We can add in things. Maybe you don't do hardcore cardio, but you walk. Like, there's so many things, but it takes us being accountable and actually taking the action in order for things to progress for us. People also ask me a lot of questions about finding their partner, their dream partner. And I always have people of a lot of clients who are going through this at the moment. And I always have people send me what do you want in a partner? And normally, like, they'll think about it and they'll send me these really cool lists, and like, they're really cool things that they would want in a life partner. But my question is always first, like, what are you doing to become this person? Like, what are you doing to do the work to be the kind of person that you're wanting to attract? Because why would this version of the person show up for you when you're not doing any of the things yourself? Like, why are you not working on, a lot of times people will say, well, I want to meet a guy who works on themselves and like wants to better themselves. I'm like, but what are you doing? Like, what are you doing to better themselves? I actually had a client who said she would never date someone who never worked out anymore. I was like, okay, but why would they date you? Like, you do not work out. You work out very inconsistently. Like, you're not hitting your goals. Like, but why do you expect someone that you're with to do that? And it was the first time she really looked in the mirror and was like, oh, I'm not taking accountability. I think I was just thinking if they did it, they would motivate me to do it. But the reality is we're going to attract what we are. We're going to attract who we are and who we're becoming. So when you think about the dream partner, think about like what version of you is showing up. Like, where are you taking accountability? A lot of times people will tell me they want their kids to take accountability. Like, I need them to take accountability for, their schooling and all this. And I'm like, but where are you not taking accountability? Like, you're telling them to take accountability, but you're showing them that you don't take accountability. So why would they take accountability? Again, this is something that I think we're breaking as we're changing some generations, but it's such a good reminder that if you want to up-level your life in any way, shape, or form, you may have a great life, but you just know there's so much more. This is where I'm at. Like, I love the life that I live, and I've loved every stage of my life, and some have been better than others, but I also know I want to always up level. Like, there's always a different version of me, and that takes like really hard accountability. It's the same thing with social media is a great example. In the beginning I was like, why am I not getting social media? Like, why is it not picking up? But the reality is I wasn't showing up on social media. I would post once a week or maybe twice a week, and I would blame, Instagram or Facebook for not, showing it more or bringing me more people. But the reality is I wasn't taking the accountability of my part in that, which is I have to show up. I have to be consistent. I have to be dedicated to making this work. And sometimes it's not always fun, but when we take full accountability, what I realized at that moment was I was taking my power back. Like, I have the power to post what I want to post and talk about what I want to post. And I have the power to show up from like the version of me that I want to show up as, and everything else falls into place because like attracts like, right? Like, whatever our energy is, it's like, that's what we're attracting. So if you feel like you're in a place where you're lacking something or you don't understand why you don't have it, I would ask yourself, like, where am I being 100% honest? Like, where am I showing up with full accountability, and where am I not showing up with full accountability? You'll always know when you don't show up with full accountability when the excuses start coming through your brain, right? Like, the excuses of, it's just, I'm just so tired. I just don't want to do it. I just don't think it'll work. I can't do it while my kids are young, or there's always an excuse. And sometimes in life, I do believe that we go through periods where we are meant to rest. Like, we are meant to stay still, be in the moment we're in, and allow that to be enough. But that is also a different level of growth, because that is also us taking accountability for where we're at and taking full accountability of saying, I'm happy with where I'm at. Like, I'm going to let myself be here until I know it's time for me to up level again. I know it's time for me to take the next step. Even days where, there are sometimes, especially on Sundays, if we've been gone all week and I've been running all weekend, that I may say, like, I just want to totally disconnect. And I take full accountability for not showing up on social media. I'll take full accountability for saying, I'm actually going to choose to sit here and binge watch some show on TV. Or I'm going to choose to unplug everything and go walk 6 miles. Like, all of these are choices that we're making, but I take full accountability and knowing that maybe if I choose to binge on the couch that day, there's a lot of things that aren't going to get done. And there's some progression that could have been made, whether it be grocery shopping and meal prepping for the week, or getting a good workout in, or prepping some material for my clients on Monday. Like, I take full accountability for that, and there's no one else to blame. So when I do sit on the couch, I'm okay with it because I know I have the power, and I'm choosing at that moment to rest my body or rest. Sometimes it's just resting my mind. When you want to explore this world of accountability, one of the first things that pops up, the reason I believe we all make excuses is because there is that fear, right? There's a fear of being uncomfortable. There's a fear of trying something new. There's a fear of like, well, what if it doesn't work? There's a fear of other people's opinions. And so it's very easy to make excuses. It's the way our brains are wired to protect us and to keep us safe. This is also why when you go to little league groups, right, like the baseball moms or the soccer mom, any of them, you'll hear the poor me stories about how hard being a mom is and how, gosh, they just want to lose weight as they're like eating pizza on the sidelines. And then, but then you'll have the other mom who's like pre-packed all their food because she's taken accountability for what she wants. And, I always kind of steered clear of the mom groups in social or in sports because I knew like negative feeds negative. If you start hanging around those moms who always have an excuse of why they don't work out in the mornings or why they don't start the small business that they've wanted to start or why they don't chase their dream, you too will fall into that trap. You are who you hang out with, whether you want to admit it or not. It starts to wear on you and the excuses become easier. It's like, well, if Sally made an excuse not to do this, then why can't I? Like, yeah, I have a hard life too. Like I can make this excuse as well. So just kind of check in and watch yourself. Like, where am I being completely honest with myself? I also believe a lot of times we, especially as women, we do this to not only fit in, but to make other moms feel okay about their excuses. I catch myself doing this a lot. I don't do it as much anymore, but when the mom was talking about how tired she was and how, her husband was never home and she had to do all the things. And I would fall right into suit with that. Like, yeah, it's just so hard. Like, I don't know. Like, I really want to lose weight too, or I really want to get in shape, but gosh, we're just at soccer all the time. Like we're going to eat Mexican again tonight. And, there'll be a time and all the things when the reality is I didn't have to feed her ego. Like it wasn't my job to make her excuses feel valid. I could have easily stepped away and said, you know what, like we're not making those same choices. Like I'm not going to feed into that. And we can hear other people without, allowing their excuses to become our excuses. But it's a good time to like check in and say, where am I? Where am I being honest? Where am I not being honest? And what can I do to start shifting that? I promise when you decide, the day you decide to look in the mirror and take full accountability for every part of your life, not just the parts that seem easy, it's every single part, because I actually am a big believer that how you do anything is how you do everything. And when you start to show up in one arena, you'll start to show up in others. But it all begins with you taking full accountability, responsibility for who you are, where you are, and then understanding that you have the power to get you to the next level. No one on the outside, no one's opinions, no one's excuses, no one on the outside is going to get you where you want to be other than yourself. So I hope today you are able to take some accountability, see where you're lacking, and make some new decisions, make some choices to move forward with your life, because again, you're worth it and all of your dreams are actually waiting for you to go after them when you do decide to step into that power. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here and for choosing to be a little louder, a little braver, and a whole lot more you. If this episode spoke to you, I'd love it if you subscribed, left a review, or shared it with someone who needs it. Until next time, keep tuning in to the fire inside. Stay unquiet.